let's get to our first guest. Even in the crazy year of 2020, she's been as busy as ever. You can catch her in Space Force on Netflix and in her Emmy-winning role on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. Plus, this summer, she's back with a new season of Hollywood Game Night. I love Hollywood Game Night. Take a look.
Let's everybody focus, and here is our first dance. Go!
Voguing.
Yeah.
That's right, vote.
What were you doing? What is happening to me?
Breakdancing.
A limbo?
Limbo.
That is right.
Twerk.
Yes, twerking. Twerking.
Miss Jane Lynch, hello. Can you hear me?
There's Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, hi, Jane. Hi.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm well. I think we're, every day is like, okay, that's what I feel like every day is. But
Today, absolutely.
hey, you know how much I love Hollywood Game Night, probably more than I should because I'm annoying when I play games. But is anyone there? This is a real question.
Yes.
Is anyone as competitive as me this season?
Yes, but there's a difference between the two of you, and I will tell you what that is. Yvette Nicole Brown is extremely competitive, but unlike you, Kelly, she's stealthy.
Oh.
She's sneaky about it.
Yes.
You are obvious. That's the word. You're obvious and you're transparent and delightful and charming. Whereas she just kind of sits back and goes, pow, like a Scorpio. You know, she comes like out of the depth of the ocean and goes and bites you.
Yeah, and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
See, I wish I were more like a ninja, but I'm so obvious. And
Oh,
like,
no, you got to be Kelly. That's.
I know. I love the game night. Like, did a special episode though from your house looking into other celebrities' homes, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Whose house made you most jealous? So
I loved my house the
I
best.
love
It confirmed my design choices and my partner, who's really good at this too. But I mean, everybody's house, you couldn't see theirs as much as ours, but we have these really great steps, like kind of architecturally, that I never saw before this way. And I was so thrilled with how we had the books and the shelves, and we kind of styled it, and we kept it that way too, because it was kind of a mess with a bunch of family pictures, and we made some edits. We got rid of some family members, sorry, and we just made a really beautiful display, and we kept it that way.
I love that answer too, because I feel like we always want what we don't have, and that's nice. It's such a lovely thing to like go, no, I like my home. Mine was.
I like yours too. I don't know where you are, but it looks great and it's beautiful.
Oh, this is not. I mean, we're in my home, but this is literally a set that they came like, and was only allowed like one person with a mask. Like, I mean, this is literally, it's an actual set in my living room, so that my house doesn't only have my initials everywhere.
I was
not
say,
that much of a tool, Jane.
I got a big JL over there. You just don't see it.
That's awesome. So Jane, we have the pandemic. We have the Black Lives Matter movement. There's just a lot of change. And I think that if we do it right, it's a change in a great direction. And I feel like it's been needed to happen for generations. But I was just curious how you were processing everything.
Well, there's this thing called Twitter, and it's a double-edged sword.
Amen.
I've never laughed harder than when I go through my Twitter feed. I've never felt as heartbroken as when I go through my Twitter feed. I've never been as angry, and that's the worst part. So it's kind of, that's where I get my news. It's been a bit of an addiction for me, and I'm suffering a little bit over it. So I'm not sure where to put it. There is just so much going on, and I feel like I got to know what it is, and I've got to understand it, and I think that that's a healthy thing, because we are at a tipping point. This is a really tender moment in our history, in our nation's history. Are we going to survive this? The institutions, and are we going to tear each other apart? I mean, we're really at a tipping point.
I agree. Speaking of social change, the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel deals with a lot of social change on the show. Like, how do you think the period of that show reminds you of now?
Well, it's in the early 60s, so we wouldn't have the 68, 69 stuff, the horrible assassinations for a few years. But it is very white dominated. It is very male dominated, and kind of like today. And the women, like women today, are trying to make their mark in comedy. And Midge Maisel is one of those pioneers, because she doesn't agree with the power structure. She doesn't even, she reminds me of Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who kind of just took a seat at the table without being invited. They're entitled to it. And I think that's who Midge Maisel is. And my character, Sophie Lennon, is more of the old school. You have to act in a certain way. You have to make fun of your looks. You have to say you're fat. Everything has to revolve around, the comedy has to revolve around how you can't get a date, or you can't get a husband to stay with you. And, Midge is stepping up going, that's not funny. And I say to her, well, what's your gimmick? She says, I don't have a gimmick. I just, I tell funny stories. So, very much like today.
Yeah. I mean, it's super sad in one aspect, but also like super telling. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Please don't make me keep going.